Ladies and gents and the rest, it's time for some video demonstration as always, right? Today we have new 5 units. And by the way, I'm reminding you that there's a playlist in the description down below that covers all the units in this game. So you can take a look at every single talent, how it works, what it does, and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, let's go. Fire Elemental. Talent number 1, Fan the Flames. Taking elemental damage increases damage dealt by 10%, stacks to 30%. There is absolutely no way to see how it increases the damage. So, as you can see, this Flame Tower is elemental damage. So, pretty much one attack gives you plus 30% attack power. However, we don't know if it drops when you get out of combat. So I think it's gonna stay with you until the unit, your elemental, dies. Also, things like Chalga, things like Witch Doctor, things like Drake do the same thing. When they attack you, don't forget, one of their attacks is a lot of little ticks. So you need only 3 of those ticks to have this bonus on your fire elemental. Immolation Aura. Periodically damage nearby enemies. Everything is the same, except grunts on our left side get more damage, right? So let's wait until... Okay. Here's what happens. On the right side, the elemental died, but the grunts have almost half HP. On the left side, grunts died. So, which makes me think that this aura does as much damage as auto attacks of fire elemental. So for each attack that you do, your aura does the same amount of damage around you. Here's what else I want you to see. Right there. So this aura, it says periodically damages nearby units, right? Watch what happens. See? So this aura doesn't damage periodically, it damages constantly. So you are always burning, and as you can see on this side, without aura, you don't really break stealth of of the enemy's units. So the aura doesn't damage periodically. Like I said, you're constantly burning, and the amount of ticks, like the amount of damage that these ticks do, roughly equals 1 auto attack per second. And the last talent, Molten Core. On death, summon a pool of lava, damaging enemies within. Okay, here's how it works. So our elemental dies, and when he dies, he leaves this, this piece of shit. That's it. That is the talent. So what do we take? It's kind of obvious. Talent number 1, which is much better than all the others combined. Immolation Aura, periodically damage nearby enemies. As you know, much better, does a lot of damage. You're constantly burning, which means all the low HP units, like there is absolutely no way they can do anything to you. As soon as they come closer, they will die immediately. Whether it's Morlocks, chickens, nobody cares. So that is by far the best talent, like the best and the only talent that you really need. And the other talents, like I would say number 2, I would go with Fan the Flames, because again, it's plus 30% damage. It's something, but it's garbage as well comparing to Immolation Aura. And Molten Core, I'll take is number 3, obviously, because you need extra level to make it epic quality, right? So that's it. Immolation Aura number 1, Fan the Flames number 2, Molten Core number 3. Next unit is Ghoul. Talent number 1, Bone Shield. Cannibalizing grants armored for 10 seconds. Okay, you come closer to the whelp egg, you break the egg, which means you kill the egg. It's a separate unit, it dies, and the whelp pops up. When the egg dies, if the ghoul is around, when something dies, it leaves a corpse like this. So this blue thing on the ground, it's a corpse. It's not the water or teardrop, it's a corpse. So what happens, ghoul starts eating when it's damaged. And as soon as you start eating, you see this gray shield. It's a symbol that means that, yeah, now you're armored. Okay? So armored will protect you from physical attacks, will reduce your physical damage dealt to you by 50%. So that is how it works. And then you hit another egg, and you start eating the corpse again. That is how it works. I obviously am not using any physical damage here. With these whelps are elemental damage, and this armored trait doesn't really protect you from these whelps. It doesn't reduce the damage. But what you're looking at right now is one of the most popular situations in PvP. That is what the ghoul is used for. It tanks whelps. Not infinitely, but you will have enough time to do something about these whelps. Because ghoul's mechanic allows it to hit a lot of things and then start eating, and now you see, it's almost impossible to kill. Talent number 2, Taste for Blood. Deal 50% initial damage to enemies who are below 50% health. Alright, I'm gonna hide the camera so you could see where which ghoul is. On the left side it's talented, on the right side it's not, and let's see what happens. They both start attacking the same huntress. However, one of the ghouls starts attacking harder when the huntress is below 50%. That's why on the left side ghoul survives. On the right side, ghoul dies. Very simple. This is the exact copy of Savage Strike of Gromash Hellscream, except it's on ghoul for 2 gold. Talent number 3, Ravenous. Cannibalizing grants Bloodlust for 10 seconds. Works the exact same way as Bone Shield. So when you kill something and you start eating, you get bloodlusted for 10 seconds. So what do we take? This is a very important question, because the ghoul is one of the most used units in PvP because it's extremely tanky and extremely cheap. That's why you take Bone Shield. It's much better than all the other talents combined. Bone Shield, you get armored trait, and you can tank like a monster. Oh, can monsters tank? Or whatever. So Bone Shield is number 1. After that, the rest doesn't matter. I haven't seen any use for the other 2 talents. I took Taste for Blood and then Ravenous. I never had any problems because I never used these other talents. Because Ghoul doesn't hit hard, so Taste for Blood doesn't really, do a lot of damage. For PvE, again, you take Bone Shield. So take whatever you want, or take Bone Shield number 1, Taste for Blood number 3, Ravenous number... Bone Shield number 1, Taste for Blood number 2, Ravenous number 3. Polymorph, talent number 1, Golden Fleece. One ship becomes golden. Killing it grants 1 gold. Let's go. Okay, we'll polymorph things. Boom, pause it. One ship, as you can see, is golden. Then we're going to kill this one ship and the rest. Boom! We get plus 1 gold. If you don't kill this, golden ship, your polymorph is going to cost you 3 gold instead of 2. Talent number 2, Stable Transfiguration. Lasts twice as long, but ship regenerates health very quickly. Let's take a look what's gonna happen. So we're going to Polymorph Molten Giant. He is at full HP. See? Execute. We take half of his HP and then watch. Boom, boom, boom. So roughly, when the target is polymorphed, it regenerates, I'd say, 25 to 30% HP per second. So if you do not, if you don't two-shot the target, you're not going to kill the target until polymorph ends. But your polymorph is going to last twice as long, which is, at even level, it's going to be 10 seconds instead of 5. Talent number 3, Exploiting Ship. Killing a ship damages nearby enemies. Let's see how it works. We polymorph everything. And then, you see, the way I'm using Arcane Blast, I will only kill the left ship. 1. Boom. All of them die. That is how it works. So what do we take? Number 1, you take Golden Fleece, because you pretty much get 2 gold polymorph with 100% chance. And in PvP, in PvE, it's all about getting the results for as cheap as possible. So again, this talent is much better than other talents. Golden Fleece number 1. Oh, by the way, for those who don't know, when you polymorph targets, all the ships get 200% elemental damage, and all the abilities that the unit has will be turned off. For example, Jaina, when she's on the battlefield, she buffs spells, and spells hit harder. That ability, that buff, will be removed until Jaina comes out of polymorph. Thalnos gains levels every time you cast a spell. If somebody polymorphs your Thalnos, you're not going to gain any levels if during polymorph duration, if during polymorph you cast spells. Your Thalnos is not going to gain any levels. So Golden Fleece number 1. I have used Stable Transfiguration few times in few decks back in the day when we had different system in the game. It was really good. It was working even at the high level. But now, Exploiting Ship and Stable Transfiguration are kind of both not useless, but it's really hard to do something with. So I'd say Golden Fleece number 1, Exploiting Ship number 2, because it has some use in PvE, and Stable Transfiguration is number 3. Worgen, talent number 1, Premeditation, increase ambush damage by 50%. On the left side, we are talented. On the right side, we are not. So, up, you see? This yellow bar, it's pretty much the damage that you deal with your first hit. And this guy doesn't have a talent, so you can see the difference. Okay? So, you almost one-shot the target. By the way, this is actually a really good thing to show. So, when you go back to stealth and you hit again, your ambush is still buffed. So every time you ambush, you do extra damage, 50% extra damage from ambush. So that's how good this talent is. It's just pure extra damage. Talent number 2, Lone Wolf. On deploy, grants +1 gold if no allies are nearby. Here is how this talent works in real life. So when you are about to deploy your Worgen, it shows you the zone this blue circle, there must be nobody, none of your units inside of this circle. No Murlocs, no Kobolds, no Skeletons, nothing. If there is nobody, and you deploy it, see? Plus 1 gold. So your Worgen is going to cost you 2 gold instead of 1. Obviously, if you start PvP match and your Worgen is in your starting hand and there is nobody on the map, you throw Worgen anywhere you want and you're going to get plus 1 gold back, right? So your Worgen is going to cost you 2 gold. That is how this talent functions. Talent number 3, Frenzy. On kill, gain Bloodlust for 10 seconds. Alright, here's how it works. We throw Worgen. We also throw Quillboard just to tank this bear. So Worgen one-shots the Rifleman and then gets Bloodlusted. And there we go. Our Worgen is Bloodlusted. Bloodlust lasts for 10 seconds unless you kill somebody else. And then you just keep going. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you die. So what do we take? Number 1, we take Premeditation, 100%, don't even think about it, don't ask me any questions. Premeditation, because 99% of power of Worgen is his opening. That first hit with ambush that you do is what Worgen is all about. There are some modifiers in PvP like First Strike, which allows Worgen to almost one-shot the tower with this talent and a modifier. So this is, like I said, our ambush is everything, is the only reason why people even take this unit. So Premeditation number 1. Lone Wolf I would take them as number 2 because maybe there are some situations where you can, it's actually better than Premeditation. And you can use Lone Wolf to make, to reduce the cost of your unit, which is always high priority. Reducing the cost of units. And the Frenzy is like, again, it's absolutely useless talent, at least right now. We don't have any use for it in a meta, in any meta, in PvE, PvP. So, number 1, Premeditation. Number 2, Lone Wolf. Number 3, Frenzy. Sylvanas Windrunner. I know, but one day I'd have to do it, so let's do it now. Talent number 1, Black Arrow. Pierce through enemies in a line, dealing elemental damage. Alright, here's what it looks like. Boom! 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 You hit like a cannon. This is an extremely powerful talent. You hit really hard, and the radius of your... Actually, let me catch it. There we go. This is how far you hit. And you also hit flying units. The animation kinda reminds me of Flame Waker, but it's better because it attacks flying units as well. Really powerful talent. Talent number 2, Banshee's Wail. I hope I said that right, Wail. Scream on death, stunning nearby enemies for 3 seconds. Here's what it looks like. We start hitting things. So we are almost dead. That, as you can see, is there's like a dark cloud here. This is the radius. So everything is stunned. Then you steal Torrent and you kill everything. That is how this talent works. Talent number 3, Forsaken Fury. Nearby horde and undead minis gain fury. It starts attacking faster, see? Because it's really hard to see on the Ghoul. But Darkspear Troll, his attack animation actually shows you everything. By the way, Sylvanas, it's herself, even though she is an undead unit, but she's not affected by this ability. So what do we take? Well, Sylvanas is not used anywhere, but you pretty much you would have to use her to at least, get Arclight energy in dungeons, to get golden slots on her, hoping that one day her gold cost was gonna be lower, you know what I'm saying? So let's still pick best talents. So Black Arrow is 100% number one talent. Absolutely amazing. People like some high level players manage to even climb very high using this talent because it hits like truck. It covers a lot of space on the screen, so it's pretty strong. Number two, I would say Banshee's Wail, because again, you saw the animation, you stun everything around. That pretty much increases the chances for your Banshee to survive. And number three, Forsaken Fury, because nobody will ever deploy Sylvanas and it must be a horde or undead unit, and that unit must actually be an attacker, like Spirit Troll that I showed you. Because if you deploy Ghoul, nobody cares if Ghoul attacks with Fury effect. No, but like it makes absolutely no impact in the fight. So it's meaningless talent. So number one, Black Arrow. Number two, Banshee's Wail. Number three, Forsaken Fury. Pretty much the way they're shown. That is, ladies and gentlemen, is all for today. I will see you next time with the 5 more units. We're getting closer to the end. We covered almost all the units in the game. That's all.